I'm the only one that can knows how to digress from a digression. But Torah heat, and trust me on this. We were learning once again about the Arboy Lamais, etc., and a fifth world that we just discovered. Like we're astronomers, spiritual astronomers, and we know that starting from our world, there's the world of Asiya, Yetzira, Bria, and Atzilus, and then sort of like when you bang your head on the roof of Atzilus, visually speaking, so you get to the Malbush HaNe'elam, you get to the actual Levush of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is Torah. In other words, that's not just words. That means that the Torah is, as Rabbi Yaacov Haber taught us, and I'd like to go further with that, but actually not today, forgive me. But what Rabbi Yaacov Haber taught us is that when we're learning Torah, and I just want to add this sentence to it, when we're learning Torah, we are actually engaging in the highest form of creation, which is called Malbush HaNe'elam, the hidden Malbush of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the Torah, which is also Mechuna Or. The Chazal, in both in the Gemara and in the Zohar, calls Torah a lashon of Or, Oiraisa, suffix do Oiraisa, L'chumra, etc., Doraisa. And which tells us that the word Torah is a word for Or. But here's a sentence that I want to add, is that it doesn't mean that every time we learn Torah, we're necessarily grasping the Or Elyon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But it does mean, grasping, I mean intellectually, but it does mean that we are engaging the Or Elyon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is the highest world possible for man. Moshe Rabbeinu, as I kept mentioning, tried to go one step higher. Hareini na es voitcha, hareini na es panecha. And Hashem said, no, that's as far as you go. That's pretty high. And he was actually able to grasp, whether it was Benavu or intellectually, is a question of the Rambam and the Ramban. The Rambam says in Mar Nevuchim that he grasped it intellectually. He was able to refine his mind so much so that he was able to grasp, even in our words, the Malbush HaNe'elam. And the Ramban says that it couldn't be such a thing. It has to be the Nevuah. It wasn't the intellect of Moshe Rabbeinu, but it was the Nevuah of Moshe Rabbeinu. Be it as it may, when we talk about Torah, we're not talking about learning about life or learning about Hashem or learning about Tzvekus. We're talking about the holding in our hands the Or, the Oraisa, holding in our hands the Or Elyon. It manifests itself into a Sefer Torah, and we pick up the Sefer Torah. It's V'zais HaTorah Asher Sa Moshe Lifnei B'nei Yisrael Al Pi Hashem B'yad Moshe. In that pasuk, you have the whole Hishtalshelus of the Torah. Ephraim Bluth, are you here? So, Ephraim Bluth, there he is. So he asked last night the most important question perhaps possible, and that is, and therefore what? I mean, so what is the tachlis here? Does this help us in any way in our avodas Hashem, which is obviously the most important question that can be asked? Thank you, Rabbi Ephraim. And I don't know if I can explain that fully, but I do want to try to at least to have a little bit of Havana as to what all this means. So I want to share with you something very special. B'nai Yissaschar is the Sachat Rebbe, one of the great Rebbes and Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov. He was one of the Gedolim of Chassidus, and he was a Gadol in Torah. not just a Rebbe, but he was a huge Gadol in Torah. So I came across that in his Maimare Chodesh Iyar, he goes by the month. So in Maimare Chodesh Iyar, he has Maimer Gimel on Lag Ba'omer. I went through all of the Maimarim on Lag Ba'omer, but Maimer Gimel is Maimer Lag Ba'omer, Mahu Inyan. And being that we're just a day or two away from Lag Ba'omer, and I think we're going to learn still in that place, in that space. So I permit myself to learn this with you a little bit. By the way, if you have a B'nai Yisachar, you have, oh, there he goes, God has a B'nai Yisachar. So if you go to Maimare Chodesh Iyar, Maimer Gimel. And here he says, and I'm just going to highlight this for you because I want to do this in a few minutes. But he says as follows. What are we meant to understand from Lag Ba'omer? By the way, Lag Ba'omer is a mysterious holiday. I mean, it's not in the Chumash, it's not in the Gemara, it's not in the Rishonim. And yet it seems to be the biggest celebration in Israel. I mean, where it even seems like for better or for worse, almost like more than the Kosel, you know. Everybody gets together and ad kedei mesiras nefesh, fighting with policemen to just be able to get into. So I'm not into the politics of it, the ridiculous politics of it, but Lag Ba'omer. So the Pasha shot is that the Arizal, who I believe was the one who was revealed that Lag Ba'omer was Rav Shimon Bar Yochai's yahrzeit, Hilula de Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. We don't know when his yahrzeit was, and we don't know when the yahrzeit of Hillel was, or Shammai, or Rabbi Akiva. Really, I mean, we don't know any of their yahrzeits. Maybe Rabbi Akiva says someplace in the Medrash, but we don't really know yahrzeits. It's a later development more. So, like, how can we know Rav Shimon Bar Yochai's yahrzeit? Everybody knows his yahrzeit. And then the Mekubalim say not only was his yahrzeit, but it was his birthday also. He was born on Lag Ba'omer. But apparently, the story was that that the Arizal, the Arizal, which is another point. Like, we think of him as, an ascetic Kabbalist wearing white robes, walking around in Tzfat. Hanging out with the Ramosha Cordovaro and the Alshich and the Beis Yosef, the Chavraya Kadisha. The reality is, if you'll study history, the Arizal had thousands of Talmidim around Eretz Yisrael. He was like one of the big, he was probably the Gadol Ador in Eretz Yisrael. He was only like 30 years old. So what we always read about the Gurei Ha'ari is talking about his very close Chavra, the Talmidim at Ari, and there were yeshivas Pi Hari all over Eretz Yisrael, not just in Tzfat. It's important to know. So he was, and to my mind in history, very few people accomplished in Jewish history in their 33 years, 33 Lag. In his 33 years, what any human being could accomplish. I mean, it's just amazing. It was impossible for him to write down the Giluyim that he put forth. He had many, many Talmidim writing for him all the time, which is an amazing thing. But he went to visit he lived in Tzfat, and he went to visit Meron on Shimon Bar Yochai's yahrzeit. And there he said he was zocheh to many of the oros and siyata d'shmaya that he had. Hence, it became a Jewish tradition, a Sephardi tradition, certainly a Hasidic tradition, to go and to try to get a little bit of that light that the Arizal told us is there. Now that it's over, I could say you got to be careful not to turn that into an avodah zarah, because when you see thousands of people dancing around a fire, whoa, it's a little weird to me. but I'm not knocking the Minhagei Yisrael, but I'm saying that's the essence of the of Lag Ba'omer. So he says here, the B'nai Zaschar, I want to tell you what's on my mind. And I want to tell you what I've already written. And let's start, and it's good for us to pay clear attention to this. The Mishnah Masechta Avos, famous Mishnah in the second parak of Avos, Chamisha Talmidim Hayalai Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Well known that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai had tens of thousands of Talmidim in Eretz Yisrael. This was, if I'm not mistaken, about 50 or 60 years before the Churban by his sheni. Thousands of Talmidim and thousands of anti-Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. There was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai and his Talmidim, which the historical world calls the Pharisees. That would be us. Then there was the Sadducees, and then there was smaller groups. Altogether, there's somebody, Matis, my friend Matis Cantor, the historian, so he counted the 126 groups, I think he said, that were in Eretz Yisrael at that time. It was like something like the Knesset. A lot of different groups going a lot of different directions. But Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was the Gadol Hador. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was also the one who's probably most famously known for saying to Vespasian, the Roman emperor, when he saw that the Chorban was imminent, of Yerushalayim, the Chorban. So he said, Tein li yavna v'chachameha. The importance of that statement, the historical statement that he made, was that what he was saying, okay, take the Beis HaMikdash, take Yerushalayim, take Bnei Brak, take Tel Aviv, it's yours. Tein li yavna v'chachameha, just leave us a little place near Ashdod to learn. So there was an amazing statement, and obviously a very controversial statement. And ad kedei kach that there were many, as far as I know, 3 assassination attempts on Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. He gave away Yerushalayim. Even Rabbi Akiva, sorry for going off on this history, but it's important for us to know. Even Rabbi Akiva, who was 70, 80 years later during the Hadrian decrees, said about, and he was a big pro Eretz Yisrael, for Eretz Yisrael, Bar Kochba, and all that. They said to him, but Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Loi kein amar Rabbeinu Yochanan ben Zakkai, and he quoted a pasuk, Rabbi Akiva quoted a pasuk that it's amazing how such a brilliant man can say such stupid things sometimes. So I'm not quoting Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva says, even how a chacham can be motzi pesi. So that's how intense this issue is, and still is today. He was probably the first land for peace arrangement that we know of at that time. And it was ad kedei kach that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, before he died, so he had a faraway look, and he was crying, and his Talmidim asked him, and these are something that we're going to learn about right now, like, why are you crying? Rabbi, why are you crying? So he said that because I see now, when you see your whole world, he said, Shnei drachim lefanai. I see 2 ways, the road to Gan Eden, and I see a road to Gehenna. And I don't know which road I'm going to go on. I don't know if I'm going to heaven. I don't know if I'm going to hell. So how can I not cry? And it's a pella that the Gadol Hador, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, we know tzaddikim are happy on the day that they die. Like, how could he be sad? How could he be crying? So the perhaps obvious answer is, I'm sure there's much deeper answers, but I don't know if you need a deep answer. But obviously the most obvious answer is that did I do a good thing or did I do a bad thing? I gave away the Kaisel. I gave away the old city. I gave away the Beis HaMikdash. Of course, there's Shnei Drachim Lefanai. I don't know what Hashem has to say about this move that I made. Below Efke, how can I not cry? So Gedolei Hador had huge responsibility of leadership and decision making. For us, Lididan, it's kind of funny because the Gadol Hador for us was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. We're Pharisees. And that's the Messiah of Chazal through the Mishnah, through the Talmud Bavli. That's our Messiah. But our Messiah is also Rabbi Akiva. The Kulam, I'll leave it to Rabbi Akiva. All the Tanoim in the Torah Shabbat Peh, it's Kulam, Rabbi Akiva. So here you have L'chaira, Achlaikas, Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, which confuses us all the more. So the Mishnah says, Nachser l'didan, The Mishnah says the Chamisha Talmidim Hayu Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, the 5 major Talmidim. And Amar Lahem, and he said to them, let's do an educational exercise. Su'u, Ura'u, Ezehu Derech Toiva She'idbak Baha Adam. Now, Ephraim, listen to me, Ephraim, that this was a very, very practical exercise. He didn't have a pilpul share with him, with his Talmidim, and say, Lomer Claren, what's the Derech Toiva She'ivor Loya Adam? She'yidbak Baha Adam, Yidbak Baha Adam. No. So, you need to get out of the basementers for a minute. Ura'u, very important words. So, like, you're not going to see it here necessarily. This is a place in Yerushalayim where he was learning at that time. It was a place of academia, and we need to know. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, "I want you to come back. Here's your homework. I want you to go the streets, walk the streets of Yerushalayim, and I want you to tzu'u or ru'u. We're living in a very, very difficult time, a very, very dangerous time. I want you to come back and report to me. Ezehu darach toiva sheyidbak baha adam. We don't usually find, especially not in Pirkei Avos, a homework assignment by the Gadol Adar to his Talmidim. Mashum yuchad mod. Now, the Bnei Yissaschar says that let's be medayik further. Not just su'u, ura'u, as I said, but why does he say derech tova? He could say derech nechona, derech, it says another place in Pirkei Avos, derech yeshara, sheyivar loy ha'adam. What's the derech yeshara that a person should choose? Kol shi tiferes paragimel, kol shi tiferes loy sel, tiferes loy ben adam. Ezo derech toiva, what is good? Good. It's a word that we use a lot, no? Tov. How are you feeling? Tov mode. So what's a good way to go? We want to do good. What's the derech? And he says, they looked into the Torah. I'm sure they went out. And they looked into the Torah. Rabbi Lezer Aimer, ayin toiva. The main thing is to have a good eye. It means to see good in others. That's what that means. Rabbi Yeshua Aimer chaver toiv. Chaver toiv means not just be a good friend. It means connect. Connect with somebody. Rabbi Yossi Aimer shachin toiv. Be a good neighbor. Rabbi Shimon Aimer haroya es hanoiled. Derech Toiva is somebody who can look at what's going on now and see what's going to come out of this. You see, when we're making big decisions, ani hakatan, when somebody asks me a question, I try to take my responsibility seriously, and I shake, not about the question. It's easy to look in a shach and a taz, or to Google an answer. But what you're not knowing is haroyas hanoiled. What's that oiskumen from this answer? Our Rebbe used to always say, 20 years tells the story. Yeah. Was that a good shidduch? Was that not a good shidduch? Was that a good move? Not a good move? 20 years tells the story. He was probably a Baal Ruach HaKodesh because I'm way past the 20 years. I still don't know if what the story is. It's not so pleasant, even 20 years. But anyways, that's what he said, Arayas HaNoiled. And then came the famous Rabbi Lazar ben Aruch. Rabbi Lazar ben Aruch, Omer Leiv Tov. The good thing is to have a Leiv Tov, be good-hearted. Omer Lahen and Rabbi Yochanan, this is what they came back with, yeah? So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, Amar Lahen, he said to his Talmidim, Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shimon, he said to his Talmidim, Talmidim, when he heard Leiv Toiv, Roya ani as divrei Rabbi Elazar ben Arach midivrechem. Let's be medayik. Not, oh, he's right. That's not what he says. But Roya ani as divrei Rabbi Elazar ben Arach midivrechem. Everything you're saying are the parts of something which its gestalt is even greater than the sum of its parts. Shebachlal dvarav divrechem. Because what he's saying, Rabbi Elazar ben Arach, is kolel what all of you are saying. Adkan. So says the Mishnah. Together we just learned the Mishnah. Says the Bnei Yisachar, asks a number of questions. But he says here as follows, Venerally. He wants to explain it as follows. Here's a yesod, first of all. Whenever there's a question what a word means, in Lashon HaKodesh, the klal is you go to the first time that word appears, and whatever it means there, that's a binyan of to every time you see that word. Now, doesn't mean that it means exactly the same thing. There are a number of faces and applications to every word, and for that matter, every letter in the Torah. The Gra tells us that you go to the first time a letter appears, and that helps you understand what that ois is contributing to a word. But certainly every word, this is a klal that's said by Rishonim already, that you want to know what a word is. The Radak says this at the beginning of his Pirush. So what's the first place that says the word toiv? Everybody push your space bar. Toiv. Toiv harishain. That wasn't very noisy. Tov harishain. Gracious. Yes, thank you. Toiv hanilmad harishain hanisker b'Torah hu atoiv aklali. So what is that? So he says the answer is, skipping a little bit here. Hina yatzu talmidim. The talmidim went out and they looked for. The Rebbe wants to know what's toiva. What is goodness? And he says, the first place to look, research for our homework is in the words of the Torah. Because that toiv, and this is an important side on the side, that toiv is a toiv klali. Like every word that you find is the klal of that word, and everything else after that's a prat. Hine. And the first toiv is Vayar Elokim es ha'or ki toiv. First time it says toiv. First time it says the letter tes, by the way. That's why when the Gemara says Haroya tes b'chaloim, if you dream about a tes, did anybody ever do that? You dream about a tes. So if you dream about a tet, so it means that that's a good dream because tes stands for toiv. And that's why in Ashrei, when it has everything according to the letters, the tes is toiv Hashem lakol v'racham avakol masa. So what is the first tov in the Torah? Vayar Elokim es ha'or ki toiv. So says Rabbi Eliezer, Hine hatoloi hatoiv harishain b'Torah's haria. Let's look at it at the first toiv. It was ria. Vayar Elokim es ha'or ki toiv. There was a ria of the toiv. So Rabbi Eliezer says, is that nilmad aderech hatoiv kloli he ayin toiv. Eyes. Rabbi Yeshua looked at the same pasuk. Look how 5 Talmidei Chachamim all see a pasuk differently. Rabbi Yeshua Laman Midachsiv, he said, let's look at a wider view of Vayar Elokim Esor Ki Toiv. Rabbi Yeshua Laman Midachsiv, if you look one pasuk earlier, Shaya Choshech Al Pnei Tohaim, before you had light, you have darkness, yeah? It was Choshech Al Pnei Kol HaTohaim. Vayomer Elokim, he or. Nasa or chaver la choshech. This is what we say in Marv. Maver yoimu maybe loyla, mavdu ben yoimu ben loyla. But the first thing that happened was there was an erbuvia. That choshech and or were mixed. That was the first thing that happened. And so he understood. I'm sure there's a lot of depth to this, but he understood that from here, what we have to learn is Chaver Tov, Chaver Tov. Now, Chaver, the shorish of the word Chaver is Chibur. Chaver is a friend, but a machberes is a notebook, because that was their first idea of binding pages together. So a chibur and a chaver is all the same word. And here are two kind of like opposite things, or and choshech. And Hashem went to the choshech, and the Gemara Pesachim is marich on this and said, choshech, you go there, or you go there, like that. There was or b'choshech berbuvya, and he learns from there that Manasseh or chaver la hachoshech, vayar elikim kitoiv. Hashem saw that the chaberus, the chibur of or b'choshech, is a chashuv thing. And if we're going to look at the first Tov, we should look about a chaver. So I just want to expand the idea. It's not just like you should be a good friend to somebody. It's that you need to be involved with society in chaver lashon chibur. You can't be ala makam, which goes back to you can't just be in your side and be a philosopher. Su'aru. As I see chaver tov, as people connect to each other. Chaver tov, that's a good thing. Rabbi Yossi Amar. Rabbi Yossi says, Shachin tov, be a good neighbor. Again, this is, by the way, fascinating as it's to itself. Good neighbor. Now, why are you looking at the fact that or v'choshech or bar buvya? Look at the fact of or, that the or v'choshech separated from each other. And high fences make good neighbors. So, like the yesod of shachen is mind your own business. Now, it comes out that now it doesn't mean you have to be good with your neighbor. You need a cup of sugar or whatever you need. Try not to let your merpeset leak into their living room and all that kind of stuff. But all that being said, a shachin tov is a bit opposite, if you will, of a chaver tov. A chaver tov is lashon chibur, and shachin is next to each other, but not intertwined with each other. It's interesting to me, by the way, why the Shechina HaKedosha is called Shachin HaShoichen B'Soicham and not HaMischaber B'Soicham. Why isn't it the lashon of Chibur, the Shechina? Why the lashon of Shechenos? I'm not going to answer that question right now because I don't know the answer, but it's I'll leave it for you to think about. Su'aru, why that is. So
and why is Mishkan and Shechina different from Mikdash?
Yeah, Mishkan is a lashon of Shechina, which is Amos, and that means that Hashem is Shoichin, and we're all davening to Hamachzir Shechinasei L'Tzion. But it feels to me that it's in the gather of where Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Okay, God, let me get a little bit closer," and Hashem, no. Yerani Adam Machai, Shachin. Somebody saying something?
That was my son on his shiur. Sorry.
Okay.
So Rabbi Haber, we also say Matovo Elecha Yaakov Mishkanasecha, and there we're talking about that their doors were not, the doors of their tents were not mechuvan one to the other.
Beautiful.
So how does that
well,
connect?
That's exactly right. We were Shachin Tov.
Right. Okay.
Privacy. So it's so interesting. Like there's a big struggle with always between a Talmud and a Rebbe, I think, because it's a new kind of relationship. It's not a shachin, it's not a chaver, it's a Rebbe, and it's you want to be close, but you don't want to be too close. As a Pirkei Avos says, to hizoher b'gachaloson shel tzadikim, you got to be very careful because you're too close, So there's a burn there. So it's kind of like a very, very balanced relationship. I would say that there's probably a big yearning on the part of every Rebbe to be very, very close to the Talmud, but as an avodah is to stay a little bit close. And this is true, by the way, whether it's a second grade Rebbe or adult Rebbe or a Hasidic Rebbe. It's a very, very difficult balance that has to be made. As Hashem lekecha tira l'rabbis talmidei chacham. I know Chazal say that your Rebbe, from a bit of far, looks like a diamond. But you get closer, it looks like gold. So closer, it looks like kesef. And when you get completely too close, it's not that the Rebbe has changed or there's anything wrong, but the border is down. So
maybe that's Shaar and Asay l'charav, that Afal P, that he's a human being and you'll ultimately be disappointed.
Yeah, I always mention that, like, I was Zocha to a good Rebbe. Rabbi Yaacov here on the screen has the same Rebbe. Much of Klal Yisrael has the same Rebbe. But, I think I might have mentioned this before, but just a personal thing. There's always these guys around in the yeshiva, out of the yeshiva, that they always, like, whenever they're around a gadol, whether it was our Rebbe or whoever it might be, Rabbi Yashav, all the gedolim at that time, they always had something to talk to them about. Like, it was like an amazing thing. Like, they always had something, kind of a good shiloh of this, and they got a good smile out of the Rebbe. They always had something to talk about. And I was always, personally, I was very close to my Rebbe, but and I lived in his house. But I was always very envious of these people that always had something to talk about, because, like, when I got into the Dalet Amos of Rabbi Yashav or Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach or the Stipler, I mean, plastered against the wall. I didn't have it. I lost everything that I have to say. I wasn't going to schmooze. Oh, did you see the latest Reb Chaim or something like that? Wasn't my. And it was just very, very interesting. I was always very kind of upset at myself for that, because maybe I could have learned more from them. But then I saw in the Mefarshei Shulchan Aruch in Talmud Torah, Talmud Torah in Yeridea. So the Mefarshei Shulchan Aruch bring a lashon to the Rambam. I think verse Rambam, that they say that how do you what's the pshat in having a Rebbe, is that there should be somebody in the world that you have a pachad of, that's intimidating to you, that you have the kind of covenant yira for, that you're not just jumping into their life. So there's so that I felt validated by that. But it's very interesting. The relationship is very interesting. But anyways, it's not a chaver, and it's not a shacheng, which requires high walls, but it's a Rebbe. It's a whole different kind of a thing. So then comes, let's get to the point here, if we do. Reb Shimon Omer haroyes hanoilad. Reb Shimon says haroyes hanoilad, being able to see, extrapolate from the present into the future. Because when we say the pasuk of Toiv, Darshu Chazal, what was the Or Kitov? The Or Kitov was the Gemara says this in Avodah Zarah, was the Or Hagonus. The Gemara says this, that Hashem had this Or, and then he saw Rishayim in the world, and he saw that this Or is going to be abused. So he took the Or and he was goynez at l'tzadikim la'asad lavai. So we don't know this Or. We don't see this Or Kitov. We see an Or, but we don't see the Or Kitov. We don't see the whole thing because HaKadosh Baruch Hu put it in Geniza. So he says, well, what do you see from HaKadosh Baruch Hu here? What do you see from Hashem? That he was a roya as an island. Like, I can't just let this be out there. Now, the Rav Shimon Bar Yochai says, Agav, that the Or Kitov, the Or Hagonus, is the Torah's Hasoid. And we can see with our own eyes how that has been abused over the generations, from Shabsai Tzvi to Madonna. Like, there's an abuse of taking, and I want to explain that because he's going to explain that. But there's a sort of gishmak, if you will, of jumping to the Or Hagonus and trying to internalize that. So we'll talk more about that. That's Royas Hanoila. Okay, Tachlis. Hine Nishma Toiva Kloli Hu Royas Hanoila. Rabbi Lazar ben Arach Omer. Rabbi Lazar ben Arach says, Leiv Toiv. Leiv Toiv. Ki me'ascholos haTorah. Listen to this, gentlemen, the genius of Yisascha. Ki hascholos haTorah bereshis, from the words bereshis bara Elikim. Ad tevas toiv, lamed beis tevas. There are 32 letters, 32 words rather. I counted them. I didn't trust them. The 33rd word is toiv. There's 32. 33rd word is toiv. Think Lag BaOmer. So what do you get to tov? What do you need to get to the word tov? Leiv, lamed beis. So when we're talking about leiv tov, we're talking about this is how we're going to get, very, very real, very, very practical. This is how we're going to get to the or ki tov is by going through the lamed beis. And what's important here is that from the word tov till there's another 17 from the 32, starting with tov, you count 17 more words, which gets you to 32 and 17, 49, which is the Mem Tes Yimei Asfira. And it's also, of course, the days between Mitzrayim and Mountain Torah. And it's also, we went to Mitzrayim down the Mem Tes Sharei Tumah. And now we need to climb up Mem Tes Sharei Binah. And Mountain Torah itself is the Shaar Hanun. I want you to just keep these numbers in mind, because it's not a bunch of cute gematrias. We're talking about very, very serious stuff here. So Agav, he doesn't, but I did. I counted what's the 49th word in the Torah. I don't know why he doesn't do that, but I had the Chumash open, so I just kept counting. 33, 34, 35, 36. 49th word is, the 50th word rather, is Boker. Boker. Vayera, Vayi Boker. So what's the difference? You see what happens? On the 33rd day, which is Hod Shebahod, we've reached Leiv Tov. What do we do with the Leiv Tov, which is or? Explain why it's or in a minute. Or, well, we know it's or ki tov. We go from or to boker. What's the difference between or and boker? Rabotai. What's the difference between or, a light, boker? These guys got it? The ishtamshus of the or.
You have or without boker. The moon also gives or. They're ma'oros. They're two ma'oros.
So what's the difference between or and boker?
Or is time. Or is a thing. Boker is time, period. Could pass.
Boker shows the source, and or is before the source. It's the light that emanates from that source, but you don't see the source at that point.
I would say that the boker might be levaker, to tell the difference, to differentiate. We keep coming back to the value of differentiation.
Did you see I just gave you a thumbs up? Look, boker is a lashon of bikaret, distinction. Look in Shulchan Aruch, all the simonim of boker is ad sheyavdil bein chelas love. You can tell the blue and white nitzitzis. Distinction. until you can see Pnei Chaveroi B'richut Daled Amos. Another opinion. Meaning you can see a person walking in the dark, but who the heck is that? Maybe you can see the way he walks. What you're seeing is enough or to see it's a person, but boker means I can tell the difference. And it's not boker until I see particularly who the person is with in front of me. Ashiras Chaveroi, Richuk Daled Amos, I can tell who you are. It's not just one big blob, all people are the same, or must be a chassid. Like it's not, no, it's very, very individualized, the idea of boker. So the thing is like this, that we have or kitov, and we work ourselves up to the 50th. This is my drasha, not the B'nai Yissaschar. So we work ourselves up to the 50th, and morning has broken, right? We have the first morning. So the morning is where everything becomes clear. So it's so logical in Mustavra that means that the Shaar Hanun of Mount Torah has now opened. And Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch, just to get through this 1 minute here, Kimi Hascholos Hatar Breishis Hatevas Toiv Lamed Beis Tevois Yoral Leiv Toiv Hu Hatoiv Haklali. That's where all good emanates from the heart. Okay, now Rabbi Yochanan Zakai Royani. Rabbi Yochanan Zakai said to his Talmid Maisi Shebachal Dvara of Divreichem, that if you want to count, you can look at it technically. Everything that you said, you're going back at one pasuk, you're going back 2 psukim. He's going back to the beginning, Lamed Beis Oisia. So everything that you said is included in him, and everything. But on a deep level, he means to say that if you have a leiv tov, Hakol Yeh Beseder. If you don't have a leiv tov, it won't be good. Now I want to finish this on Sunday, but because it's just we're getting, this is very important. Diburim, and gets us right back to the Nefesh Hachaim. But I do want to say the following, that just a little bit of history here again. Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch, who said leiv tov. The Gemara tells us Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch became the closest Talmud of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. When Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was thrown out of Yerushalayim, he turned to Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch. Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch turned to him and said, "Teach us the Ma'aseh Merkava." Gemara in Chulin. Teach us the Ma'aseh Merkava. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, just like Yecheskel Hanavi did when he left Yerushalayim, and he had the Mara of the Mara Merkava. Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch saw it was appropriate that when we're leaving Yerushalayim here again by a Chorban by Yesheni, we need to learn about the Ma'aseh Merkava. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Yared min Asus, Yared min Chamar, he got off his Chamar and he sat down and he taught his Talmud Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch the Ma'aseh Merkava, the highest level of Soid that we know of, with the fire of Yerushalayim burning behind them. Now, what's interesting here historically is then where did Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch go? So where Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai went to Yavne, Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch was tired, and he went to Medina Sayam. I think he went to Cyprus. He got to Cyprus, Kafrisen. Cyprus is Medina Sayam. And the Gemara tells, the Medrash says that he went to a place, Makom She Ha'etzim Yafim, V'Ha'Peros Mesukim, and Nahar Yovar B'neiam, and there was no Romans on our hand. There was no. It's hard to live in Eretz Yisrael, and he went to Medina Sayam. That's what the Gemara says about Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch. V'Shah Hasham, listen to this, and he lived there ad sheshachach kol Talmudoi.
Where does it say that?
It's the Yalkut Shimoni in Mishlei. I will bring it to the table too. Ad sheshachach, there's a Gemara version of this in the Gemara also. Ad sheshachach kol Talmudoi. Hello? Like, okay, he went to Medina Sayam. I think I would have gone to Medina Sayam too. But he went to Medina Sayam. And what happened?
That is a shocking statement.
Unbelievable. Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch, like Kol Raz, I mean, talk about like a post-Holocaust, reaction. He saw the burning of Yerushalayim and he went to Medina Sayam. Okay, so sit and learn in Medina Sayam. Find yourself a little shul or a vinkel And then they found him. Whatever happened, where in the world is Elazar ben Arach? And they found him, and he said, they found him, Chachamim were traveling, and they found him. This part is in the Gemara already. And they opened up a Chumash to talk with him, and he couldn't remember how to read. And he read the pasuk, Parshas Hashavua, HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem, Roshei Chadoshim. He mistaken the Daled for a Resh. He mistaked the Chaf for a base, and he read it. Oh, I can read this. Hacheresh Haya Libam. Was this a mistake, or was this a very, very deep cry from deep inside the neshama? Acheresh, death is my heart. Acheresh haya libam. Hiskala chachamim livkais l'tzavech. Chachamim, you don't know how to read the most pashut pasuk in the Torah. Chodesh hazeh lochem. Like, how could this be? Acheresh haya libam. V'hispalulu alav. And they davened and they cried. They were there in Medina Sayyam. So there's a wonderful story in the Chazal. They davened for him. Ad shehechzer like kol Torah. Until he became a Talmud Chacham again. I don't know if that took a minute or a year or the rest of his life. And he became again, Korulai, Rebbe Elazar ben Arach. So I tell you, Pirosh Yaakov Haber. If you learned some math when you were a kid, and you have nothing to do with it, you'll probably forget it. And you'll probably forget your history and your geography, and you'll probably forget your Torah if you don't stay with it. Shakach kol Talmuda. The only factor that remains is the Leiv Tov. And what I mean by that is that if we can internalize what we've learned into our Leiv, figuratively Leiv, it never can go away. It can just get blocked, hidden, covered, smothered, smeared, and don't go away. Hacheresh haya libam meant I can't, like, my Leiv, I'm in Medina Sayyam way too long. And what happened was, Talmidim talked with him, and they davened with him, and they learned with him. And they were his Talmidim, and with the Tsar. And the Leiv Tov, it's like taking a tarnished silver becher and just giving it a polish. And all of a sudden, the Cheresh Hayalibam started to shine. The Leiv started to shine until he saw the clarity of Daika HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem. We could always renew.
Rabbi, what's interesting is also that's the first Rashi said that the Chodesh Hazeh Lochem should have been where the Torah would have started from. That's the first mitzvah that Israel got.
That's where it should have started from, because, very good, Gil, very good. It's very good because it's the first mitzvah in the sense that what Rosh Chodesh teaches us is you always have to be mitchadesh. But here's the important story here. What Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said to Rabbi Elazar ben Arach was this, and I'm sorry, I'm a little bit over time, but hear me out on this. We guys are all going into Golos. Some of us are going to Yavne. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai himself didn't go to Yavne, by the way. He didn't go to Yavne. Rabbi Elazar ben Arach went to Medina Sayyam. Tele Yavne v'chachamel. Yavne was Yavne, and Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel became the Nasi of Yavne, and that went on from there in history.
Yochanan ben Zakkai never went there?
Never went to Yavne.
Wow.
He went to Bror Chayil, which is today a village about 30 kilometers away to Yavne. How telling is that? But what he was saying to them is, and I think this is, like, let's absorb this, that we're going into Golos. It's not going to be the Yerushalayim Shalpam here. There's not going to be, we're not going to be surrounded with the type of environment that we've been surrounded with for the last 500 years. And before that, for the Habayis Rishon. No, we're going into Golos. We're going to end up in far-flung places. We're going to end up in Dinas Hayam. We're going to end up in the Soviet Union. We're going to end up wherever we end up, Siberia. But the thing is, or America. But the thing is that this is a very good time, Talmidim, to go out and look. Mahi aderech hatoiva she'ivor alei ha'adam she'yidbak ba'adam. Like, what's the way to be? What's the way to preserve the Torah and the godless and the Yiddishkeit that you have? And there's all kinds of things you can do. Shachin Tov, Chaver Tov, Hayin Tov, there's all kinds of things you can do. But the thing that's going to last through Medinas Hayam is going to be the Leiv Tov. Because even if you lose it, it's in there somewhere. And I think that's the importance of that Mishnah. And I think it's so important, which what he's going to teach us, I spent a few minutes on Sunday, of what happens, and this gets us back to our Lamas that we were talking about, what happens on Or Lamed, Yom Lamed Gimel, which is the Yom of Or, all the way to the Tov, 17 days later, you get it, Leiv Tov, all the way to the word Boker. Now that's a whole new reality. The reality of Rebbe Elazar ben Aruch and the Leiv Tov. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry for going over time.
This
Thank you.
Talmidim, that's all B'nai Yissaschar's divorce there, on that they went out and analyzed Tov,
Yes, it's all here on the third paragraph, is it?
and how they analyzed it.
Thank you so much.
That's all, each one analyzed the pasuk differently,
According to B'nai Yisachar, that's how they did it.
according to the Bnei Yissaschar.
So, but also you said that he was a Sachar Rebbe. He wasn't a Sachar Rebbe. He was from Dinov.
Yeah, from him came Sotachav, yes?
No,
Okay.
Why, the,
Also,
from Kutz came Sachar.
cuts, thank you. Thank you for the
I also
correction.
wanted to add a small note. The word tov, the gematria is 17.
Yes, that's why there's 17 words.
Right. So, exactly.
That's why I counted the 17 words.
Right.
All together,
Also,
you get to 49. Yeah.
Rav lahagi baboker chasdecha. You have to tell it over. We see the chesed. I don't know. Just came to me.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi.
Nineveh Rebbe, my error, yes. I'll fix that.
Is there another Zoom Zitz?
Near Hashem, 4:30.
4:30 Zoom Zitz.
Together. Until the shul is open, or the Beis Mikdash is built, or whatever's supposed to happen. Everyone, please stay safe. This is, I just want to say, out of care for everybody, that, like, I know the economy's opening and everything's opening, but that doesn't mean we should be careless because, we're playing with fire here. I don't think it's a smart thing to be in denial of the fact that we're playing with fire. God forbid. I just heard another story from America. Just yesterday, somebody went on a ventilator, Hamish Yid, and we lost over 1,000 from Jews with this thing. So yes, I'm saying get your economy going, but just wear a mask is all I'm saying. Okay. Baruch haba tzlach, have a good day.
Okay.